Welcome, creative adventurers. I'm Debbie Cohn with Cohn Designs. Thank you for stopping by today. Have you ever wondered what tools would be the best investment for my hard-earned money and what tools would be inexpensive but yet get the job done? Well, in this video, I've got my top 10 quilting tools for 2022 that I think are great. I love them, I recommend them, and I use them every time I quilt. Just a quick note, I'm not paid to endorse, review, or recommend any of these projects. They are just products that I use and recommend to others regularly. I may, however, earn a tiny commission from an affiliate link if you choose to purchase through the links that are listed in the video description or on my blog. If you like this video and would like more tips and techniques and quilt-alongs and DIY projects, and all sorts of quilty inspiration, then please hit that like button for this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Head on over to my blog at dcondesigns.com. That's where you'll find a couple of free patterns for your personal use and lots of quilting inspiration. Be sure to stay tuned to the end where I give you a bonus tool that I really think is handy and is quite inexpensive. I think you'll find it handy too. So let's get to those tools. The first item on my list of top 10 quilting tools for 2022 is Aurifil thread. This is new to me this year. I tried Aurifil thread at a retreat, and once I tried it, I never looked back. Aurifil thread is a premium thread, and there are other brands on the market as well that would be well worth trying. It is 50 weight, 100% cotton. It's thinner and has way less lint than your typical big box thread. So I really like it. It makes it easy to sew. My machine loves it. And the stitches don't show quite as much because the thread is a little bit thinner, but it's still the same weight. I also have it in black. I use my Aurifil thread for all of my piecing. If I'm doing free motion quilting, I use my colored thread collection that I have. I don't have that in Aurifil at this point, but eventually I will. The next item is a wool pressing mat. This also was new to me for 2022, and it was a gift to me from a good friend. Thanks, Cheryl. I wasn't quite sure if I'd like it or not, but I gave it a try, and now I really like it. I think part of it is the size. It's an 18 by 12, so it fits really well on my counter when I'm just doing when I'm ironing small blocks and pieces. The other part of it, though, is that it does heat through very well and quickly irons my pieces flat. You must be careful, however, not to put it on your actual cutting mat or on any surface underneath that you don't want damaged. So don't put it directly on a dining room table without having a towel or some other surface underneath it to protect it. The particular brand I have is Love Sew, but I'm sure there are other brands available. This next item is a return from 2021. I love my Olfa Splash Rotary Cutter. I love it because it's easy to use, and best of all, it has a quick change blade. I just pop this back, the blade pops off, I put the new one on and push the red lever back up, and it pops right into place, and I just move right on with my cutting. Another item making a return from last year is my Fiskars thread snips. I love them. I use them every time I sew. They are handy, easy to use, they feel good in my hands, and they do the job quickly and efficiently. Here's one of my favorite tools from 2022. I invested in these Clearly Perfect slotted trimmers. They come in a pack of 2. One trimmer is for your half square triangles that are on the full inch, and the other trimmer is for those half square triangles that are on the half-inch size. The trimmers are great for trimming your half square triangles. It can also be used for trimming quarter square triangles and for use in the tube strip patterns where you use the ruler and you flip it around on the tube and cut your pieces. Donna Jordan of Jordan Quilts has quite a few of those patterns that use the strip tube ruler, and these work perfectly for that. Let me show you quickly how the Clearly Perfect slotted trimmer works. In this case, I found a scrap HST so I could demonstrate. This particular HST needs to be 3.5 inches unfinished. So I take the dotted line of the trimmer, move it up to the seam line where you can see the white thread, line it right up on there, and I center it so that there's an even amount excess on each side. And then I would take a rotary trimmer, trim up one side, down the other, and then the bonus is you can trim right in the slot here and the slot here, and you've trimmed off your dog ears. The one thing to remember when using these is that you must trim them before you open them up and press them. That's the only challenge that I needed to get used to, was to remember to trim them first before pressing. But I love it. It does 2-in-1 with just 2 cuts and I'm finished. This tool is so versatile and saves me so much time when I'm making half square triangles. I just love it. The next item that I love and still use all the time is my diagonal seam tape. This is from Cluck Cluck Sew. You can get it at several different websites. You lay the tape down on your machine so that the needle is lined up on the red line. Guide your fabric along the 1/4 inch line as you're sewing. That way you don't have to mark the back of your squares when you're marking them to sew half square triangles. This works especially well when you're only sewing half square triangles from 1/2 of a square. It also works as just a regular seam guide as well. The tape is very inexpensive and lasts a long time. New to me in the last year are some seam markers. I love these tools when I am marking for half square triangles on both sides of a square. So let me show you how it works. There's a long version for marking large squares, 8-inch, 10-inch, 12-inch squares, and then there's the smaller one for marking smaller squares of fabric. You can see that there's a line down the middle. You put the corner, you put the diagonal point at the diagonal of your square, line up the line here at the other diagonal corner, and then just draw your pencil line there and there and there and there. That way you have your stitch lines marked. I find this easy, especially when I have to sew half square triangles on both sides of a square. It's more accurate and I have to think a little bit less once I've got them marked. If I don't want to use my diagonal seam tape for this kind of sewing, then this is my go-to tool for that. And here's the Creative Grids, the longer version as well. Over the past several years of quilting, I've tried several different seam rippers. I've tried the Clover brand, which is well loved by many, and found it lost its sharpness fairly quickly. I also tried the Seam Fix version, and I felt it lost its sharpness quickly, but I loved the cap on it because I could remove the excess threads quickly and easily. Then I looked on Amazon and I found this. They come in a pack of 5 and they're very inexpensive, and honestly I found they lasted just as long as my Clover seam ripper or my Seam Fix seam ripper, and they also have the rubber end on it that works great for removing the clipped threads. So this is my go-to, inexpensive, and they last just as long as the fancy name brands. Making the list again this year is the Crafter's Square craft clamps. I got these at my local dollar store, but you can also find them online. You can see that the pink in one package is a little bit different from the pink in a different package, but it's no problem. I use them any place that you might use Wonder Clips for holding binding on, holding pieces of fabric together, for holding labels onto rows, for holding labels onto sections ready to be cut. They work great for all kinds of things in quilting, and they're very inexpensive. They hold up well. One of my favorite quilting tools of all time is these clear plastic bins. You can see they're about shoebox size. You can get these at any dollar store, and any big box retailer such as Target or Walmart also carry them. The Container Store does sell them as well, although they are more expensive. These are quite inexpensive and I use them for storing all kinds of things. You can see I use them for storing current projects. Those are boxes for my Ukraine Always quilt. The pattern with the multi-sizes will be coming out shortly, and for my Quilting Life Block of the Month 2022, which I am doing a monthly video on. I'm really enjoying it. You can see I also use it for storing fabric that's not designated for a particular project yet. The top bin is Tula Pink fabric, some leftovers that I have, and the bottom bin is for fat quarters that I have. I have fabric for it, but I don't have a pattern in mind yet. You can see here I also use it for storing my scraps. I just pop a masking tape label on them and they're good to go. I like that they're stackable, they're clear, and easy to maneuver around. Here's a bonus tool that I think you might find very handy. This is a Dritz needle inserter and brush. I got this handy gadget from my local quilt store. You could probably find it there. They also have them on Amazon and probably from some online shops. What I like about it is a brush, a lint brush, so I use it when I'm cleaning out my machine. And best of all, it has a hole right here on the end where I can hold my needle. When I'm replacing the needle on my sewing machine, I can hold the needle up in place so that it doesn't move, and I can screw in the machine screw with the other hand. And usually if I'm replacing the needle, then I'm probably cleaning out my bobbin area and the plate under the needle as well. So it's a wonderful, handy, and very inexpensive tool to have. I'm hoping you might be able to help me. Can you give me some advice? I'm looking for some good quality pins. The pins I've been using are these. They are thin, which I like, and flat heads, and they have heads that are easy to see if I need to pick them up off the floor or amongst my sewing things. But what I don't like about them is they rust easily. I don't mind that they bend easily, but they rust easily and wear out quickly. I'm not happy with them. What pins would you recommend that I get for quilting? Please let me know in the comments below. I'd really love your advice. Just a quick note for those who are interested. Behind me is a simple quilt that I made using some Tula Pink yardage of zebras because I love zebras. And then I bordered it with some leftover True Colors fabrics that I had of Tula Pinks. Just a quick and easy way to do a panel quilt and add some fun and inspiration to my walls. Thank you for watching today. Please leave me a comment in the comment box below and let me know what your favorite pins are. I'd really like to know because I'm on the hunt for some new pins. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up, tell a friend, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Head on over to my blog at dconedesigns.com where you'll find free patterns and lots of quilty inspiration. I'll see you next time.